When I was a kid, I was germ conscious. Really germ conscious. But I'm not sure if it was actual germs I was conscious of, or if it was really just the thought of other people's spit that made me feel like passing out. You see, much of childhood is set up as one big germ and spit spreading activity. Everybody has their certain hang-ups in life. I can't stand it when people file their fingernails in my vicinity. Or when my little sister sneaks up on me when I'm doing my homework and does this. That sound. It makes me cringe. A middle schooler battles his unique hang-up in Resuscit Annie by Paul Feig. It seemed like whenever I had a bottle of pop, and at any age from 4 to 14, it was guaranteed that within seconds of opening it, some kid I knew would appear from behind me and utter these dreaded words. "Hey, can I have a drink?" Every time. And then I was stuck. Because if I dared to say no, it was sure to provoke a thoughtful and understanding response of, "Come on, ya baby, I'm not gonna drink it all." Yeah, but you're gonna get your mouth all over it. Or at least that's what I wanted to say. But instead, in my true non-confrontational fashion, I'd always relent. Okay, here. I'd get the bottle back and it would be coated with everything our school served for lunch that day. And the few inches left at the bottom would have the same viscosity as motor oil. You guys can have the rest. I'm not thirsty anymore. When I was in junior high, that something happened during gym class that was to prove one of the most traumatic events of the spit and germ avoiding segment of my childhood. Simply put, I met a girl. And that girl's name was Annie. Resuscit Annie. Annie, as I've affectionately come to know her, wasn't a girl in the standard person who's actually alive sense. No, Resuscit Annie, queen of the latex torso women, was something invented by paramedics and CPR instructors to be used for the teaching of the initiated in the fine art of mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. Annie also had one thing going for her. She was terrifying. The first traumatic thing about Annie was that she looked like a dead person. Her face was white and rubbery, her eyes closed, mouth loosely open, exposing a disturbing set of rubber teeth, and she had a full mane of greasy, matted hair on top of her head. She hardly looked like someone anybody had a chance of saving. I'd throw a blanket over her face if I saw her lying in the middle of the street. But as far as the emergency healthcare community was concerned, Annie had one purpose in this world, and that was to be revived over and over and over again by anyone and everyone trying to master these very practical skills of life-saving. A group, I am ashamed to admit, I had no desire of joining. Mr. Wendell told us to gather round in the center of the gym as we came out of the locker room. As we walked over, we saw Resuscit Annie lying on the floor. Norman said, "Woohoo, cool, a dead person." Just then a very large policeman with a big red drinker's face and a handlebar mustache entered the gym and walked up to us. "Hello, gentlemen. My name is Sergeant Korn, and I'm here today to demonstrate to you the proper way to administer the life-saving technique of mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. And now, with the good help of my friend Annie here, I'm going to show you the correct way to administer the kiss of life." Mr. Wendell, I think it's against my religion to do stuff like this.
"Big, I don't care if you're the Pope. You're gonna have to do this, so just get in line."
I watched kid after kid after kid kneel down in front of her. I was getting closer, and now I noticed that the kid directly in front of me was Doug Blachek, our school's most infamously mentally retarded kid. He was a nice enough guy if you met him in the hallway, but he had extremely large and droopy lips that constantly seemed to be soaked with saliva. Doug turned and gave me a big, wet smile. My life started to flash in front of my eyes. Doug kneeled down and bent over Annie. He took a loud, deep breath as if he were preparing to dive into the ocean to jump for pearls. I saw his back rise and fall several times as he tried to revive the lifeless rubber doll on the floor. I looked down. There she was. Annie. Her face soaked. It looked like Doug was actually trying to inflate her, and after a few moments, Sergeant Korn put his hand on Doug's shoulder and said loudly, as if Doug were deaf, "Okay, that's fine, young man. You saved her." Doug stood up and threw his arms in the air as if he just won the 100-yard dash. I just stood there, staring. Maybe if I throw up all over it, I won't have to do it, I thought.
Come on, Big. What is it with you? Get moving.
Then it hit me. Faint. Help! Save him! It was Doug. New panic set in as he stomped toward me to deliver his newly learned kiss of life. I was nanoseconds away from blowing my cover, running and screaming, when Mr. Wendell saved me by quickly grabbing Doug by the arm. Sergeant Korn stepped forward and looked me over. You said he coughed? He must have choked. Everybody step back. And with that, Sergeant Korn stuck his fingers into my mouth, pinched my nose, and kissed me. I was homesick for 3 entire days. And to this day, whenever I hear the name Annie, it makes me cringe. Thank you.
Where's the thing?